Getting set up here, and I'm bringing you Hannah. So if you pop on, say hi. So excited to have you all tuning in from literally all over the world. Yay! Hi, Hannah.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. It's so good to talk to you. This is
I
crazy.
know. Let me see. I don't know if it's my volume. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Can you hear me?
It's a little quiet, so I don't know if it's me or you.
Let me see. How about now? Can you hear me better
Okay,
now?
that's better.
I think I'm accidentally covering the mic. Can you hear me
I don't
now?
know if. Uh-oh, it went quiet again.
Oh no.
Um, okay, maybe if somebody can tell us if they can hear us.
Oh, my mom just joined. She'll tell us.
Okay, I can hear you, but it's like really quiet, so I don't know
Maybe I should put
what's
on my
going on.
headphones. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah,
Let's
I can
see.
also put mine in.
Oh,
Okay,
they can hear us. Yay.
they can hear us. Okay, perfect. So let me just put in mine because who knows, it could be me too. Yay. Oh my gosh. Hi, Emily. This is so fun.
I love this. Also, sorry, keep looking down. I'm feeding my dog treats so she stays quiet.
I love it. Remind me of your dog's name. Lola? Okay.
And she
Yep.
too.
Yay! Okay, well, thanks for joining and thanks everyone for watching. As many of you know, doing lots of interviews, super fun for Celiac Awareness Month. So today, Hannah, so you want to introduce yourself, tell us a bit about you.
Sure. So I'm Hannah. I've been diagnosed with celiac disease since October 2012. So it's been a little while. I live in New York, and as a lot of you know, I like to travel too. And thanks to your guides, Carrie, I can always find amazing things wherever I go. So that's just it about me, and I have a dog. So
Yeah.
all
So
these.
you were just, I know, and you got married last year.
I did, yes. September 5th.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been that long. Like time is going
I
so fast.
Time flies. It's crazy. I can't believe it.
Uh, so, okay, so you were just in Miami.
Yes.
So can you tell maybe some people who are apprehensive about traveling, like because you have a unique, which I love about you, because you do what you do, which is awesome, and you only eat at entirely gluten-free restaurants when you eat out. So can you talk about your process a little bit when you travel?
Definitely. Well, thankfully, you make it a lot easier. So typically, what I do is I check your guide. And also, Erin, Gluten Free Globetrotter, she has some great resources. I always ask around other, friends in the community if they've been to a certain city. So that's what I did for Miami. And then I also do kind of my own independent research and pack a lot of snacks so that I'm prepared
Yes.
just in case.
Yes.
Because
Yeah,
I found,
absolutely.
for a while, I would eat at restaurants that had gluten-free options and things like this. And I think I'm just really sensitive. My mom, who's on here right now, can attest to the fact that I would get just really, really sick, even if everything I ate was gluten-free. Just the cross-contamination, I don't know. So that kind of led me to try, okay, let me try to just do, eat at dedicated restaurants, see if I feel better. And I did. So that, it worked. So I just kind of stuck with it.
Well, and that's the thing. I think, everyone has to do what works for them. And I love that, I mean, because you're literally the sweetest person in the world. So Hannah does what Hannah does. But if you want to go eat out, she's not going to think badly of you in the
Oh my
least. You know what I mean?
God.
Like,
God, teach me your ways. That's amazing.
but,
True. And
it's everyone's got to do what they feel most comfortable with. And I love that you have decided what works for you. And like, that's great because you feel better as a result.
definitely. Thank you. And, there's so many people who, um, you know, either do that or don't do that. And it's exactly like what you said. You've got to do what works for you, and support everybody else in what works for them,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Olivia said she loves the snack idea. Yes, raise your hand if you travel with lots of snacks. It's really funny because I think back and I've always been a snack person, even way before celiac. I just was always hungry. Like I always would have snacks on me. But then you develop this whole new appreciation for snacks when you have to be gluten free.
It's so true. It's like literally life saving, you know? So I was at this conference for work in Miami for like a day and a half ish, and my backpack was just filled with snacks. And it was such a lifesaver because, you never know what the conference is going to have or something like that, or how close the resources are to where you're staying. So it definitely makes a huge difference. I feel that.
Yes, I agree. Ashley says she always gets inspected by security.
Oh, that's so funny.
Well,
You know what I do? My doctor, my celiac doctor, he actually writes me a letter for every time I travel that I can take with me in case they give me a hard time. So Ashley, let me know. He maybe can write you one.
I was just going to say, I was going to ask you about that because Erin, who you mentioned, Gluten-Free Globetrotter, she is the first person that I encountered that has a really good blog post about traveling with a doctor's note. Mm-hmm. And so that sometimes like liquids, for example, you can get certain liquids through security if you have a doctor's note, or like things like peanut butter that qualify as a liquid. I think sometimes you can get through with stuff like that with your note. Is that true?
Well, I didn't even know that it qualified as a liquid, and I have taken it and have gotten it through. So it is thanks to the note. So
Yes.
thankfully, he gave that to me before I had to find that out the hard way. Thanks for telling me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, honestly, I mean, like, there's so many good tips. This is already, I know you were watching the interview last night, but if you haven't watched last night's with Priyanka, I learned a lot about college. I mean, I'm far removed from college, but those who are parents, or if you are in college, she had awesome resources for using the disability office at college campuses to advocate for yourself. So that was an awesome tip.
It was amazing. I had never even thought of that, or I never knew that was a resource, truthfully. So watching that interview, I was like, oh my God, I'm learning so much. And she really is such a pro. I know she mentioned we went to college together, and I remember before I was diagnosed, like, she would walk you through and explain it in such a way that was just really accessible. And sometimes I feel like that's a challenge, trying to explain to somebody, okay, here's celiac disease, here's what it means, here's what I can and can't have. And she was always just such like an accessible advocate and explained things in a way that just made so much sense. So, and she's still doing it. I mean, I learned that watching the interview. It was this morning for me, but last night for you, I think. True.
I am on a different time zone over here. So I found that really fascinating and helpful. The doctor's note thing, I kind of forget about. I should have gone to the doctor in the US and gotten one while I was back because I don't have one. I was on a flight in Asia, I don't know how many months ago, and it's one of those like more budget airlines where they don't let you bring snacks. And they wanted, so it's actually interesting because I've flown them again and I didn't have an issue, but I don't remember where I was flying, and they asked to like look in my bag, or I can't remember what it was because they have signage that says you can't bring outside food. And I got like panicked in my face, and I looked at her and I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, I have to be able to bring this food. Like, yes. And so I explained, and thankfully they were really understanding, but with like language barriers and, their second language is English, sometimes it doesn't translate. So if you're in the US, or even if you're not, I'm sure you could still get one. Like, highly recommend going the doctor's note route.
Definitely. Oh my gosh, I'm like wondering, could we like email you one or something so you have it on you?
I know. I really should look into it. Thankfully, knock on wood, I haven't had any more problems. Good. But I haven't tried to bring like peanut butter, hummus, like the things that qualify as liquid that I know would get confiscated.
Definitely. Gosh, I just learned so much even in that conversation.
That's why I love talking to other people, because it's just the little details, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you've been celiac since 2012. Like I'm coming up on 8 years. Like we all have been in it for a while, but there's still things to learn and educate yourself about, you know?
It's so true. I actually was having this conversation with somebody the other day on Instagram, and they were like, "Oh, I can't remember what the example was, but they were like, I did this thing, and oh my gosh, I'm, so silly, but I've just been diagnosed." I'm like, "No, it's not silly at all. Like, I learn every single day, and I'm sure it'll be that way for the rest of my life. Like something that I just had never known about before." Which is kind of a beautiful thing with celiac disease. Like you're constantly evolving, constantly learning. And that's always a good thing. And it's such a strong community that we have, I feel like. And everyone's
Agreed.
sharing resources and, it's just kind of one of the silver linings, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
So, can you speak to, I know you've had other health related issues. Do you feel like they came on as a result of being diagnosed with one autoimmune disease that you then had more?
Definitely. So the other one I have is Hashimoto's. And luckily, I found out about that pretty early. And so, well, early in the development of that. And luckily, it's kind of, at least for me right now, it's not a big deal. It's very manageable, which is great. And my doctor was saying, she's like, "Oh, you're one of those autoimmune people." So I'm not surprised. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm one of those people, I guess." But, yeah,
Yeah.
something earlier today that they do kind of present in groups, and it's just kind of part of it, I think, sometimes. But other people
Yes.
not have any. I don't know. Have you found that true in your experience, or?
Well, and I just read something, maybe somebody posted it, and then I read an article on it as well, talking about the stats in terms of, if you do develop one autoimmune disease, you're more prone to others, but it has something to do with age as well sometimes, is what they
Yeah,
were saying.
I think I saw the same thing. Now I'm trying to remember who posted it, but it was really interesting. Something about being like in your 20s or older, your chances of developing something else are higher. Was that what it was?
Yes, I need to go back and look. I think it was Erica, Celiac and the Beast. I think she posted it.
Awesome. Thank you, Erica.
Yeah, I know. So I think it was something like when you get diagnosed, if it's under or over 20, can like influence your chances of getting another autoimmune disease.
It's so interesting.
Yeah. So, and then a lot of people, like, which I first found out, I don't know if do you stay away from dairy?
Sometimes I try, but I'm not very strict about it. Like I
Yeah.
love cheese. I had some like dairy cheese earlier tonight, but then, I always try and go for almond milk or something. So I'm kind of all over the place with that.
I am too, and it's interesting because I talked to a naturopath like right when I got diagnosed. It's just so overwhelming. You don't know who to listen to, what to do, and now I feel like there's so many more resources accessible. But like when I was diagnosed, like Instagram wasn't really around. I knew a couple people who had celiac, but not people that were like advocating for it or using the platform for anything. And so finding resources was just kind of challenging. So I remember talking to a naturopath, and she was saying a lot of people develop dairy intolerances
Oh, wow.
after celiac, and that I needed to be careful. So I've just kind of always monitored it, of like, but I still eat cheese.
It's hard to resist.
I know, right?
Oh, I mean, I didn't even know that. That's really interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah.
I have to see an allergist because I have a lot of seasonal allergies, and she did do food allergy testing right after my celiac diagnosis, and there were a lot that came back positive. So I guess that definitely matches with what your doctor had said.
Yeah. And then Karen just said, yeah, autoimmune diseases come in clusters. Yeah, it's true. So, okay, so I'd also love if you're willing to talk about the New York restaurant scene and some of your favorites for anyone that wants to come to New York.
Absolutely. I have so many favorites. Number one, oh gosh, they're all so good. So I'll just kind of list them off. The Little Beat Table is amazing. We actually had our like post City Hall wedding brunch there with our family. So I love it there. And that's It's on 24th and 25th on Park Ave. So for anyone who works around there or is visiting around there, definitely check out Little Beef Table. Senza Gluten is amazing. They have a very strong Instagram game, so I'm sure everyone watching has heard of them. They're amazing. Springbone is obviously a favorite of mine if you follow my Instagram. Let's see, Risotteria Melotti is amazing in the East Village, and we just we just got, I guess, I don't know, a gluten-free sushi place. So Aaron posted about it, and I was like, oh my God, I need to go. So literally the next day I like ran. I was like, Aaron told me to come here. And they were all excited. They're great. Let's see, Tap NYC. It's the Brazilian place, actually. I feel like you and I have talked about it. Love, Brazilian cheese bread and all the good stuff. Acai bowls. So they're great. No Glue is amazing. There's a new place, Modern Bread and Bagel, which looks...
I was just going to ask if you've been.
I haven't been yet, and I hate saying that, but I think, so I graduate in like 1.5 weeks, so I'll have some more time.
Oh my gosh.
We'll go. Promise. I've been Instagramming them, like, I really need to get there. But they look incredible.
Yes.
There's a new pizza place. I haven't been there yet. I'm trying to think if I've missed anybody. There's so many good restaurants and a lot of great bakeries, like By the Way Bakery, Erin McKenna, which is huge. I think that's everything. I don't know if I'm missing anything, but if I am, Erin, Gluten-Free Globetrotter, has an amazing list. Jess, Tasty Meditation, has an amazing list of recommendations. My mom just texted me, Senza.
Yes.
Senza.
Yes.
Shout out. They're amazing. So I think I feel really lucky to live in a city that does have so many resources, because I'm sure you've seen it too, like traveling and kind of looking at what other cities have in terms of dedicated gluten-free restaurants, or even restaurants with, good options. It can be challenging depending on where you go or where you live. So New York is really great in that sense. Miami was awesome. Brazil has been incredible. Like,
yes.
Well, in Brazil, as you know.
Yeah. Hannah's husband is Brazilian.
Yes, sorry. I should have said that. I think he's listening upstairs, but
someone said you've been to Posh Pop. You know Posh Pop, right?
Yes, I love Posh Pop. I knew I was forgetting somebody. I'm sorry, Posh Pop, if you No, they're amazing. Their cookies are incredible. Do you know when you follow, foodies on Instagram, and they always have like these huge cookies that they're pulling apart and it looks incredible? Posh Pop is like the gluten-free version of that. It's amazing.
Everything of theirs looks unreal. I can get lost in the rabbit hole of their Instagrams so easily.
I went in this morning and I was talking to the owner, and I'm walking around. I couldn't decide what to get. It took me like 15 minutes to decide. I'm not even kidding.
So that's the other thing, and I'm sure so many people, especially celiacs or anyone who is entirely gluten-free, can relate. It's like this whole new movement, right, in the last decade, I'd say, more so even like the last 5 years, of all these 100% gluten-free spots. And we're so used to not having options that then all of a sudden you walk into an entirely gluten-free place and you almost just get deer in the headlights because you can have anything.
Like, you can have the thing that you actually are craving and want, not the thing that you just have available, which is wild.
Yes, I know. It's so fun because even in this part of the world, like I'm actually, I'm interviewing someone next week who, she's lovely. She's Korean, and she has a 100% gluten-free spot in Seoul.
Oh my God.
So her name's Sunny, and she's so great. So she started her place a couple years ago, and like now there's a few places that have opened in Seoul, which is amazing. Like even, in Asia.
That's incredible. It makes it really amazing to try, plan trips, because I think when I was first diagnosed, I worried about like, oh, where can I go and really have like a full experience? And it's everywhere pretty much. I mean, there's so many options. That's amazing.
Yes.
I'm excited to see her. That'll be great.
Yes, it's really fun. She's great. She has great English. She's just so wonderful. I got to meet her a couple times in person and go when I lived in Korea. So I've done a interview with her, so there's a written interview on my website, but it'll be fun to be live and people get to, see the cafe and stuff as well. So that's fun.
Oh, I'm excited. That's amazing.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
best places, literally all over the world. I don't know how you do it. It's amazing.
It's just unreal, and it's become this like enormous passion project for me, right? Like because I love there's just so many aspects to it that I love. It's helping people. I mean, it's helping all kinds of people, but people like you especially, right? Like that only are going to eat at 100% gluten-free spots. Like you're not the only one. There's lots of other people. And but then it's also supporting small businesses and entrepreneurs, and I mean I know you have a heart for that too. Like I just love that. And then it's just creating community and conversations and like just all my favorite things.
Absolutely. No, it's amazing. And you do such a great job at it. And then, I always think of you when I'm traveling and I'm going to any of these places because it's you who's put together, whatever resource I'm using. And you're directly impacting my life and my experience, wherever I'm going. And so I'm really grateful. I'm sure everybody else feels that.
Oh.
But it makes such a big difference. And I never actually even stopped to think about it kind of from the other lens of, you're doing this work to support small businesses too, which is really incredible.
Yeah, it's really fun because I like, you think about it, and some of them are like, they maybe started as a small business and now they've blown up. Like I think about Erin McKenna is like, I actually just went in LA because they have 3 locations now, right? Like New York, Orlando, and LA. But, I'm sure I can't remember the full story of it, but I'm sure it started in her kitchen, like at her house, like most places do, or in some very small capacity. And then it grew into what it is now with 3 locations.
It's amazing. And I love stories like that. Like those are the stories that, and I know you do too. It's like you live for that. Just to know that you can kind of, you have a passion, you want to help somebody or a group or, however big or small that might be. And then you actually can go and do it. Like that's the dream. That's incredible.
Exactly. And that's the world that I literally, I'm like really into morning routines and meditation and mindset stuff. And so every morning, like I write down a list of things I'm grateful for. And lately I've just been writing things like the internet. Like I wouldn't know you. I wouldn't have this conversation. I wouldn't have half the things I have in my life right now if it weren't for the technology available, and like, I get it. There's a lot of frustrating things. Yeah, opportunities in front of us. Like we're using a free platform, like, right? Like I get to have conversations for free through technology.
It's amazing. Like we're just all so much more connected than we used to be. And if you have a mission around that, that's amazing. You can do so much. You can really reach a lot of people, or share like your resources, your guides, your interviews. I mean, it's amazing. I totally agree with you.
So I'm just blown away every day. I'm like, man, I can be halfway across the world and have, like my morning, your night, like so fun.
Love it. I love it. And I love being able to like connect with, people like you all over the world. So that's another thing I should mention when I travel, finding somebody, because chances are you're friends, on Instagram with somebody who's from that city or that town, wherever you're going. And they can provide you with so many resources that otherwise you wouldn't have had access to at all. You couldn't have known about.
Yes.
So
Yes.
thanks, technology.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. And it's a really good point because let's say you're traveling somewhere and like you're traveling with a friend, but maybe that friend is not celiac. And, you know, like they're as accommodating and understanding as they can be from being a friend to you. But if you can find somebody else in that city, or even if it's just somebody who's been there and can help you kind of walk through that process, that often is really helpful.
Definitely. Definitely. There's nothing like it, you know?
So, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. I used to blog for the Huffington Post, but now I have my own blog. I don't write a whole lot on there, but you can still reach me through there. And I do have kind of a little gluten-free getting started guide that I put up there. So hopefully if anyone out there is looking for resources, you can check that out. You can reach out to me anytime, but pretty much Instagram.
Awesome. So, the GF Guru is Hannah on Instagram. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to either of us. But Hannah knows the 100% gluten-free New York scene very well. So if you missed her list of recommendations, go back and watch it or send her a message. She hits them up often.
Too often.
No, it's never too often. I mean, that's the thing. Like New York looks, I mean, I've been to New York, but it's been a long time. It's awesome how many restaurants there are.
So many. And there's like new ones popping up every day. And Erin, Gluten-Free Globetrotter, is so good at staying on top of that ever-growing list. So
yes.
I'll probably to her.
Yeah.
Asian.
Absolutely. Yes. They both have amazing resources as well. So I love that you guys have such a good New York celiac scene.
Oh, thank you. Well, I feel like you're part of it. Every time you're like, oh, I'm over here. I'm like, wait, you're not here? That's right. I forgot. I feel like we talk all the time. So yeah.
I know. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. And if you have questions, reach out to Hannah. She's seriously the traveler as well. She's been to so many places in the last year. Greece, Panama, Brazil, you name it. She's probably been there, and she's got resources for you as well. So,
Oh, thank you.
yeah. So fun. So thanks for joining me, and thanks everyone for watching. So